glad to be here today with the Commissioners of Lebanon County. My name is Pam Bishop, and I reside in West Cornwall Township. And I'm here representing two citizens groups today, Lebanon Pipeline Awareness and Concerned Citizens of Lebanon County. We are very grateful for your willingness, Commissioners, to meet with us yesterday during your workshop session. And we presented a few items that were requests to the commissioners to take some action. And the two that I'm concerned about this morning, I believe you received an email, and Jamie has left you copies of that from yesterday from Ann Pinka, President of Lebanon Pipeline Awareness. These two items are time sensitive, which is why we come to you this morning. There are a number of actions and steps in the application by Atlantic Sunrise Pipeline Project before federal and state agencies. And there are deadlines associated with the public comment periods with those actions and steps on the way to their request for approval for pipeline installation. And the two that I come to talk to you about today, we would request that you ask the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission for an extension of time of the public comment period to at least 90 days for the Atlantic Sunrise draft environmental impact statement, which was issued by FERC earlier this month. And it is a very big document, over 1,000 pages. It takes time to read through it and digest it. So that public comment period was set by FERC to end at the end of June, and we request another 30 days if you would support the need for the public in Lebanon County to have an extra time period to respond to that large document and make comments.
Do you want to take them one at a
Yeah,
time?
excuse me, Pam. Would you mind if we address them one at a time?
Yes.
And then we can, is that the pleasure of the board?
Also move that we write a letter to ask FERC to extend the public comment time till July 31st.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Any questions or comment regarding that motion? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. So moved.
Thank you so much.
It's
And
one down.
As you know, you are a registered commenter and intervener in that proceeding, so it's appropriate for the county to make a request on behalf of the citizens for extra time. The other item that's coming up fast and furious for this pipeline project is their request to the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection for permits to cross streams and wetlands in the 8 communities in Lebanon County through which the pipeline is proposed to be installed. And that permit was noticed in the PA Bulletin on April 30, the permit application, I should say, and by the Transcontinental Gas Pipeline Company, which is the parent company. Williams Partners is the developer of that pipeline in Lebanon County. And that was a permit for water obstruction and encroachment under 25 PA Code Chapter 105. The public comment period is noticed until May 31st, which is coming up very fast. So there's still time to get a comment in if the commissioners so desire. And the request that we made of you is to ask the DEP for a public hearing, to hold a public hearing on that permit application in Lebanon County, and that request could be done before May 31st. They'll probably hold the hearing after that date, but to give the public a chance and yourselves a chance to read, digest, and decide to make public comments, if you wish, on that application. Again, it's a very extensive, multi-page, large document that is available only on review at the DEP regional office. So our request would be that you send a request to DEP to hold a public hearing in Lebanon County on water obstruction encroachment permit number E38-195, which is the permit that covers their request to cross many streams and wetlands in Lebanon County. They do it on a county basis.
Okay. What is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion that we send that request.
Excuse me, I heard two requests. One was to make comments to DEP prior to the deadline, and one was to hold the public hearing.
I'm referring to the public hearing.
Okay, so I'll second the motion to hold the request a public hearing.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we request a public hearing, even if it is after the May 31st deadline. Is that accurate? Any comment or question? If not, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
So ordered.
We thank you so much for meeting with us yesterday and for considering these two requests, and we'll be happy to work with you and your staffs in the county to, review these items. And there are others, as we explained to you yesterday, that are in the works, other chances for public comment on this project.
Okay.
I also read the request for submitting comments to DEP prior to closing, and I would also like to move that we do that as well and work on a statement.
Is there a second?
I'm not interested. Second.
Just clarify, what are we trying to do here?
Well, for instance, I read through the executive summary last night, and there's so many points in here that I feel need to be addressed. For instance, the bald eagle is one that I can't help but jump off the page at me. And they're saying within 5 miles, you're not to disturb nests, you're not to approach the eagles or the eggs.
Now, what would be the motion that you're trying to get accomplished here?
Well, I was trying to give an example of something that we could discuss and possibly include, and I'd like to finish that statement. The eagles, the boundary is 5 miles, and having floated the Swatara Creek and been active there for a long time, I know that on the Little Swatara there's a nest. I know that in Palmyra there's a nest. I know that just below the American Water Company there's a nest. I know there's a nest at Memorial Lake. I think that it uncovers the entire Swatara Creek. Those eagles are there. I don't think that they're taking that into full consideration. So I give that as one example. I think we should work on comments and submit them as requested here. And, I'm sure that you all would not maybe go into that detail with the comments, and I understand that. I'm just saying there's a lot of meat just in the executive summary that we could address.
All right, I want to ask my question. What are we asking? Are we asking for a joint
Yes,
response
from the county,
from the county?
from the county
As opposed to
commissioners.
individual commissioners responding?
I will respond on my own if I have to. I think it would be very good for the community to see a leadership position taken by the commissioners to do a joint statement.
Go ahead.
My question is, are you referring to the DEP document that Pam mentioned that comments are due by May 31st, or are you referring to FERC's draft environmental impact statement? So I think the summary is the DEIS that you have.
I do have the EIS, but I see no reason why we could not address some of these comments to DEP as well, because they have, there's a lot more in here. I just gave an example of something that jumped off the pages at me.
There is an overlap of, we'll say, jurisdictions. Certainly the FERC review is a draft environmental impact statement, and it is for that agency to consider all of the environmental impacts. Some of the environmental impacts are also considered in the context of the DEP permit for wetlands and stream crossings. So there are overlaps of
Right.
jurisdictions here. And I would just add, when you make a request, which you've already voted on, to ask DEP to hold a public hearing in Lebanon County, there will be a chance to make comments by the commissioners and obviously the public at, as a commission or as individuals at that hearing, assuming that DEP would grant it. Making that request is actually a comment to DEP in the context of the public comment period that's open until May 31.
Excellent. Okay.
But I think there's a qualifying wording there. There's an assumption, and assumptions are that DEP will grant our request. That's not a guarantee. So to be sure that we are heard, I think we should also submit comments, and then we can expand upon them at the hearing.
Well, I'm willing to cross that bridge if we have to, when we would get there. If they would refuse a public hearing, then we can address a statement if we would want to. That's the way I would prefer to do it. And otherwise, we can make our comments as a commissioner group or as individuals at that meeting, at the hearing.
In your request for the public hearing to DEP, you might actually explain that you haven't had a chance to review the document, which is the draft permit the application for the permit, because it's a very large one, and that's why you're asking for the public hearing, and that you would hope to be able to make comments then, because you're not prepared to make them right now, since you haven't reviewed the document.
Okay.
And you could put that in your letter to DEP.
So, is there a second?
No, I appreciate the clarification by Ms. Bishop, and I'm not prepared to second the motion.
Okay.
But it will appear that the motion died for a lack of a second. It will be recorded that I requested this. Okay.
And does it also get recorded as to why we, or not going to, why we, the logic behind why we're delaying it? Okay. All right. Anything else?
Thank you. No, thank you very much.
You bet.